welcome to another live English lesson. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so unfortunately, yesterday I couldn't host a live English lesson due to some technical issues and the bad and poor internet service. So today we're gonna be studying maybe multiple lessons so that we can end this unit. So the first one we are going to study is lesson 6, right? Have you read anything during these days? Have you possibly read anything? Okay, that's a great. So lesson 6 is titled Fuad's First Meal in Japan. So what is meant by meal? What is meant by meal? You remember when Fuad had a chance to travel to Japan with his father because his father had business there, and he took advantage of this so that he can see and meet his pen friend Yuki, who is a Japanese boy. Yes, Zin. And you remember how Fuad wrote a letter to Yuki telling him about his arrival to Japan, and after that Yuki sent a letter back to Fuad telling him that he will be waiting for him in Tokyo in his uncle's house, as we know, because Yuki's house is not in Tokyo. Muhammad, you're asking about yesterday lecture. It means that you didn't pay attention to what I have just said. I was saying that yesterday there was a problem in the connection, and due to that technical issues, I couldn't host a live lesson yesterday. Okay, so today I have not started yet a web. So today we are gonna study lesson 6. So here, lesson 6, we have Fuad arriving at what? At Yuki's uncle's house, right? And since we have this title, it means that it's all about a meal that Fuad has in Yuki's uncle's house. And what is that meal? We will discover. So this lesson is all about the customs and traditions and eating habits of the Japanese people. And we will see if it is different from us or not. So, do you know anything about the Japanese food or the Japanese customs or anything about the Japanese traditional habits? Can you tell me anything about Japan, especially those who um, may like Japanese series and may have some information about Japan, like Adam? What do you think, Adam? Yes? What do you think, Adam? Do you have anything to say about the Japanese customs? Do you have anything in your mind about the Japanese traditional customs? Asma, anyone, tell me what you know about Japan and Japanese food. What do you mean, Muhammad? It's okay, Adam. Try to say it in your own words. We are all learning from each other here. Do you want me to unmute you so you can speak to us about your information about Japan? Muhammad, we are speaking about Japan and not China. What do you mean by ramen, Yaman? What is ramen? Hmm? That's a good information. Okay. So that's all you know about Japanese traditions? So Adam is speaking about their food and their anime series and huge shops. No, Asma, these we are speaking about the Japanese people and not the Chinese ones. You know, the Japanese people, some of the Japanese people, it's said that they eat bats. Asma, we are speaking about Japan and not China. They are different people. Maybe different traditions. Okay, so Yaman, do you have anything to say? Do you want me to unmute you? Do you want to say something, Yaman? Okay. So here we will just see some customs which may differ from ours, and maybe um, it's the same. So if you look at these pictures, you see how they eat, and the can you hear me? I think I lost the connection. Okay, so you can see their table. It's unique, and what they eat. We will read and listen to the conversations, but now let us look at the pictures and what they use and how they eat. So, first of all, just like what Awab said, they kneel on the floor when they want to eat, right? So the question is, do you kneel on the floor like the Japanese people? Do you kneel? Or do we in Iraq kneel on the floor when we want to eat? What do you think? Yes? Look at, okay. So look at them, how they kneel on the floor. They do not sit on the floor. They kneel on the floor, right? And what do they use? They use, just like Yaman said, they use chopsticks, right? Let us who can read, first of all, who can read all of these conversation? Who can, okay, Yaman. Sorry. Yaman, where is Yaman? Where is Yaman? Okay, Yaman, go ahead and read.
Mr. Fuad first meal in Japan. Mrs. Uno,
Do not
come
read the
eat.
names. Do not read the
Fuad,
names. Okay, Asma, do not read the names, okay?
okay. Come and eat, Fuad. Are you hungry? Yes, I am. But where do I sit? We don't sit on chair when we eat. We we kneel on the floor like this. I see. We sit on the floor in my house. Let's eat then. What are these? Chopsticks. In Japan, we always eat chopsticks. Oh, in my country, we usually eat with knives, forks, and spoons. It's harder with chopsticks. You'll learn, or or I will be hungry. This is very nice fish. How do you cook it? We do not cook it. This is a raw fish. We eat it with a sauce. Sauce. Really? At home, my mother always cooks the fish. Well, sometimes I cook fish, but I like this eat this way. Do you cook the meat? Of course, we always cook meat. Here, have some of these vegetables. Oh, thanks. Well, it's different from home, but it's tastes nice.
Thank you. So now, yeah, let's listen to your colleague Asma.
Okay. Come and eat. Fuad, are you hungry? Yes, I am, but where do do I sit? We don't sit in on chair when we eat. We kneel on the floor like this. I see. We sit on the floor in my house. Let's eat then. What are these chopsticks? In Japan we always eat with chopsticks. Oh, in my country we usually eat with knife, forks and spoon. It's hungry with chopstick with it's hardest with the chopsticks. You learn you learn or I live by hungry. This is very nice fish. How do you cook it? We don't cook it. This is raw fish. We eat it with the sauce. Really? At home, my mother always cook the fish. We sometimes I cook fish, but I like it they way. Do you cook the meat? We, of country, of course, we always cook meat. I have some of these vegetable. Oh, thanks. It's different from home, but it's tastes nice.
Thank you, Asma. Now, let us listen to the original conversation and how they speak.
Unit 6, Lesson 6, Track 39.
Come and eat, Fuad. Are you hungry?
Yes, I am. But where do I sit?
We don't sit on chairs when we eat. We kneel on the floor, like this.
I see. We sit on the floor in my house.
Let's eat then.
What are these?
Chopsticks. In Japan, we always eat with chopsticks.
Oh, in my country, we usually eat with knives, forks and spoons. It's harder with chopsticks.
You'll learn.
Or I'll be hungry. This is very nice fish. How do you cook it?
We don't cook it. This is raw fish. We eat it with a sauce.
Really? At home, my mother always cooks the fish.
Well, sometimes I cook fish, but I like it this way.
Do you cook the meat?
Of course, we always cook meat. Have some of these vegetables.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's different from home, but it tastes nice.
So, now before doing the exercises, can you tell me the differences between our habits during having lunch or during having our meals in general and their habits? What do you think? We said first they kneel on the floor, while sometimes we sit on the floor, right? And what else? What do they use? They use chopsticks that Muhammad is asking about. And thank you, Zain, for your reply. And what do we use? What do we use? What do we eat with? We eat with spoons. Okay, Muhammad, they eat raw fish while we cook it, right? So now it's easy to do exercise exercise A of lesson 6 on page 76. Read pages 48 and 49 of your student's book and tick the true statement. Put a tick in column 1 if it is true for Japan. Put a tick in column 2 if it is true for Iraq. Okay, now number 1. People kneel on the floor when they eat. Japan or Iraq? Japan. Number 2. People sometimes sit on the floor when they eat. So tick Iraq. Number 2, Iraq. Number 3. People always cook fish. Number 3. Sarcasm. Number 3. Tick Iraq. Number 4. People always cook meat. Yes, exactly. Japan and Iraq. Number 5. People sometimes eat with knives, forks, and spoons. Okay, tick Iraq. And you know what is meant by forks, yes? Fork is, what is meant by fork? What is meant by fork? Yes. Okay, Asma. Number 1. People kneel on the floor when they eat. You tick Japan. Number 2. People sometimes sit on the floor when they eat. You should tick Iraq. Number 3. People always cook fish. You should tick Iraq. People always cook meat. Iraq and Japan. And number 5, people sometimes eat with knives, forks, and spoons. Iraq. Then you're asking about 3. People always cook fish. Don't mention it. Zen, do you eat raw fish? What is meant by raw fish, by the way? What is meant by raw fish? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, what is meant by raw fish? Yes, exactly. So, do we eat raw fish in Iraq, or do we always cook it? So that's why we said that number 3, we should tick Iraq. Okay? So now, sorry everyone, I lost the connection. So, can you hear me now? Okay. So now let us do exercise B. It's about the adverbs of frequency. I think you remember the adverbs of frequency, right? When we studied them at the beginning of this school year, right? Now, you have to complete these sentences about Japan using these 3 adverbs of frequency, right? So, you know what is meant by always, sometimes, and never, and the difference between the 3? So now number 1. People kneel on the floor when they eat. We are speaking about Japan, okay? So what do you think? Always. So people always kneel on the floor when they eat. Number 2. People sit on the floor when they eat. We are speaking about Japan, ya Zen. So, people never sit on the floor when they eat. Number 3. People eat with chopsticks. What do you think? People always eat with chopsticks. Number 4. People use knives, forks, and spoons. Yes, never. People never use knives, forks, and spoons. Number 5. People eat raw fish. Exactly, Adam. Sometimes, yeah, Awab, not always. Sometimes. And number 6, sorry. People cook meat. Always. So people always cook meat in Japan. Now, exercise C, you have to write comparisons between Iraq and Japan. Adam, You are asking about 6? Adam. The point says people cook meat in Japan. Do they always cook meat or never cook meat or what? You should use always. You should use always because of what Mrs. Uno said to Fuad at the end of lesson 6, right? So now let us get back to exercise C. You have to write comparisons between Japan and Iraq based on what you have studied in this lesson and the information you got. So the first one, in Japan, people always do what, but in Iraq so in Japan we can say, in Japan, pay attention to me, in Japan people always kneel on the floor, but in Iraq we sometimes sit on the floor. Or you can say, in Japan, people always kneel on the floor, but in Iraq, we never kneel on the floor. Okay? Okay? Now, number 2. In Japan, people always eat with chopsticks. Right? But in Iraq, we usually eat with knives, forks, and spoons. Now you can do number 3. I want someone to do number 3. Yes, exactly. So we can say that in Japan, people sometimes eat raw fish, but in Iraq, we always cook fish. You should speak about the fish. Okay? In Japan, people sometimes eat raw fish, but in Iraq, we always cook fish. In Japan, people sometimes eat raw fish, but in Iraq, we always cook fish. Right? That's it. You have to write the 3 comparisons. The first one is about the kneeling on the floor. Number 2 is about chopsticks, and number 3 is about raw fish. Now that's it with exercise 6. Let us move to to lesson 7 in your student's book. So lesson 7 is about a postcard from Fuad. So what is meant by postcard? What is meant by postcard? What do you know? So yes, exactly, Awab. So here in this postcard that is shown in front of you, can you tell me from this postcard, where has Fuad been? Or before that, who sent this postcard? Of course, Fuad. Now, who it is sent to? Who it is sent to? Yes, exactly. It is sent to Saleh. So now, I want someone to read this postcard so we can answer some questions. Who can read this postcard? Zain. Okay, Zain, go ahead and read the postcard.
Hi Saleh, Japan is wonderful. Yuki's family have been really kind. They have taken me everywhere. I have visited Disneyland. That was fantastic. I have also been to traditional Japanese play. I didn't understand a word, but it was interesting to see. Japanese food is delicious. I have even tried some raw fish, and it was quite good. I have bought a new camera for you. I hope you will like it. See you soon, Fuad.
Thank you, Zain. So let me read it quickly. Hi, Saleh. Japan is wonderful. Yuki's family have been really kind. They've taken me everywhere. I've visited Disneyland. That was fantastic. I've also been to a traditional Japanese play. I didn't understand the word, but it was interesting to see. Japanese food is delicious. I've even tried some raw fish and it was quite good. I've bought a new camera for you. I hope you'll like it. See you soon. Fuad. Okay, so now let me ask you some questions. Where has Fuad been? From the information that you read in this postcard, how can you answer this question? Where has Fuad been? Where exactly? Fuad has been to Disneyland, yes? So Fuad has been to Disneyland. Disneyland. And to a play. A traditional play. What is meant by play? What is meant by play? No. No. مسرحية. Okay? Number 2. How many Okay, sorry, I lost the connection. So, I was asking you about how many times does he use the word Japanese in his postcard? How many times does Fuad use the word Japanese in his postcard? I have another lecture, Adam. I have another lecture. Two. Yes, so he used the word Japanese twice. I mean, for 2 times. Now, what strange thing has he eaten? Raw fish, right? What has he bought? Now, this is so obvious. What has he bought? What has he bought? A new camera, yes. He has bought a new camera for Saleh, yes? So we have these two questions. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay. So we have these two questions. Number one, how does Fuad feel about his holiday? How does Fuad feel? Is he happy or sad? What do you think? Happy. So which words in his postcard tell you that he is happy? How could you know that Fuad is possibly happy? How could you know? Which words tell you that he is happy? Yes, yeah, man. These adjectives that Fuad used, like fantastic, wonderful, interesting, delicious, all of these adjectives tell us how happy Fuad has been during his visit to Japan. Right? Now, as you know, when you go to another country, you usually visit some famous places. You remember when Yuki sent the first letter to Fuad? I was about to say Awab. So when he sent the first letter to Fuad, he told him about the famous places in Japan and what he can do there, right? So that when you go somewhere, of course you're gonna visit these famous places. Like, for example, if you go to Cairo in Egypt, you will, and of course you will visit the pyramids in Cairo. If you go to London, you will go to Big Ben, right? If you go to New York, you will go to the Statue of Liberty. And if you go to Paris, where would you go? Let us listen to this boy reading a postcard from his friend. And I will ask you certain questions, okay? So let us listen.
Museums in the world. The Louvre. It was really interesting. French.
Sorry, we lost the connection, maybe. Now, let us listen again to this boy reading a postcard which is sent to him by his friend.
Unit 6, Lesson 7, Track 40. Hisham has had a postcard from his friend Mustafa. Listen and answer the questions. I've just had a postcard from Mustafa. He's on holiday in France.
Oh, what does he say? Read it to me, please.
Okay. Dear Hisham, France is fantastic. I've done lots of things. I've been up the Eiffel Tower. Everybody does that when they visit Paris. You can see the whole of Paris from up there. I've also visited one of the biggest museums in the world, the Louvre. It was really interesting. French food is different, but it's very nice. I've even tried some frog's legs. I've bought some new clothes for myself and a CD for you. I hope you like it. See you at home in Iraq soon. Mustafa.
So that was Hisham reading a postcard he received from his friend Mustafa. So let's do exercise A on page 77. Where is Mustafa on holiday? France, yes. And number 2, where does he come from? Where does he come from? Iraq. Yes, exactly. Now, let us listen again and do the other questions. Okay?
Unit 6, Lesson 7, Track 40. Hisham has had a postcard from his friend Mustafa. Listen and answer the questions. I've just had a postcard from Mustafa. He's on holiday in France.
Oh, what does he say? Read it to me, please.
Okay. Dear Hisham, France is fantastic. I've done lots of things. I've been up the Eiffel Tower. Everybody does that when they visit Paris. You can see the whole of Paris from up there. I've also visited one of the biggest museums in the world, the Louvre. It was really interesting. French food is different, but it's very nice. I've even tried some frog's legs. I've bought some new clothes for myself and a CD for you. I hope you like it. See you at home in Iraq soon. Mustafa.
So now, number 1, what famous places has he visited? What famous places has Mustafa visited? Okay, so he has visited the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. Okay, now number 4. What does he say about French food? He says that it is different but nice. Yes, it's different but nice. Number 5. What has he bought? Clothes and a CD. What camera? What are you speaking about, Adam? He has bought a camera for, a CD for Hisham. See, Adam, what have you done to me? Okay, you asked about the frogs. Yes, Zain, what is a frog? What is a frog? What is a frog? What do you think? Yes, Yaman. So what is meant by frog's legs? You know what is meant by a leg? Yes. So they eat frog's legs in France. Yes. They eat frog's legs. Do you want to eat frog's legs? Okay, so now exercise B. Here you have to write a postcard. How to write a postcard? Imagine that you are a visitor on holiday in Iraq and write a postcard to a friend in another country. Here are some things you can write about, but you can use your own ideas. These are things that you can write about. You have to imagine that you are someone from another country, okay? And try to um, pick a name, choose a name for yourself, a foreign name, like for example, John, or whatever name that you like. Choose a name for yourself and write a postcard, for example, to your friend Awab or to your friend, for example, Jack, not Awab, in France, since you are from France. I mean, imagine that you are a French boy, for example, and you have come to Iraq and you are sending a postcard to your friend, to your French friend. What things that you write about? You can speak about anything that you, for example, find in Iraq and things that you imagine that you visited in Iraq. And you have these points. You can write, I mean, in your postcard, you can write about when you arrived to Iraq and where you are staying, for example, hotel, or just like Fuad when he went to Yuki's uncle's house. You can speak about the weather in Iraq and how you find it. And however, you have these points that you can use in your writing. And this is your homework, yes. So you can also take advantage of this writing tip. When you write a postcard or letter, try to make it interesting for the reader. Try to think of things that will be interesting to the reader. Try to make your reader laugh or smile. Write about your own feelings. Okay? So I think it's so easy for you to write a postcard. So this is your homework. Write a postcard to your friend. As I told you, imagine that you are a foreign boy from another country and you are visiting Iraq and you're sending a postcard back to your friend. Okay? So I think that's, unfortunately, we don't have much time. And that's it for today. So this is the end of today's lesson. Inshallah, next time we will study the story, and maybe if we have time, we will go to unit 7. So try to read the story, okay? Try to read the story, and don't forget your homework. That's it for today. Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Okay, so let me take your names. Write your names, please. Okay. So that's it for today, and see you next time.